Welcome back to my channel. This is the 2025 Triennial series. We're on part 2 of the Lillyville tour. We'll take a tour of Lillyville and then we'll get on the train and go back up to the top to the Ellingson turntable, and we'll tie the train down up there for the night.
We've got some spotted cows in the pasture here. Lots of cool locomotives going by too. The amount of detail is incredible in these structures. There's our train. Lots of livestock. Some trees. Those might be chicken pens. Chicken coops. The hotel even has furniture and an interior. Look at that. City Hall. These are people who volunteer or have volunteered at Train Mountain. So these buildings all have a special meaning. Dale is one of the main track guys here. There are a couple of groups that come out and do track work, and it's not just like an occasional basis. These guys are out here all the time. The only exception is when they get snowed in the wintertime. But that's what it takes to keep this railroad running. There's a logging arch. That's pretty amazing. In the old days, they'd hook the log up and they'd lift it with a pulley so the nose was off the ground, and then these animals would pull on it and drag it through the woods. Usually they'd take it to a river or somewhere they could load it on rail and then down to the mill. Ooh, there's a wild bear. Stay away from him. Yeah, you can't forget the essentials. Before indoor plumbing, this is where you did your business. Let's hope our name's not on there. I think these are real people. Yeah, I recognize some of these names. Here's the mining camp over here. Bunkhouses. Some mining track, probably G scale. They even have the river rock in place. Blue water with a covered bridge. The detail just goes on and on. That's a duck exit, I think, for ducks. And you can see they have future expansion in mind. Jim is the one that comes down here and does all these buildings. Dedicated work. And it's nice. They have a couple, there's a siding and a spur where people can park their trains. And now that we're getting into dusk, I'm going to activate our flashing rear end device.
That was some work.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, they even have a saw. I think it's a crosscut saw where one guy stands on top and the other stands on bottom. Push and pull until you get a board cut or a piece of wood, as the case might be. But all these cedar shake roofs, pretty incredible. That's a lot of hours of work. And that's Lillyville. All right, we're back on the train. Highball. And the main line is clear. We'll go over this diamond here in a minute. We're going up here and we're going to hang around this whole loop, midway circle, and then we'll come back to that track we just crossed over. Here's where one of the rail shuttles embarks. Here's Gville. We've gone by that on previous trips. We saw a person using a battery-powered G-scale train earlier. And we're gonna go into regen braking here and see if I can catch this switch before we run past the stand. There we go, we got it. We have a lot of full-size switch stands here. I'm looking ahead at the handle on this stand. It's pointed the correct direction. Target looks good. Handle's locked down. And the points on the switch are good. So we're going to keep on keeping on. On a full-size railroad, you're looking down the track and the first thing you're going to see is the target on the switch. Normally it'll be green for main or nothing for main, and usually red or yellow for the diverging route. Make sure the target indicates what you want. Then you're going to see the handle. You want to make sure the handle is in the locked position for one way or another, just like that. It's down in the slot. And then when you see the points of the switch, you want to make sure that they're lined the way you want to go. If that handle was in a middle position, those points wouldn't be touching either rail. They'd be right in the middle. That's a recipe for derailment. Your flange is going to pick up the route that you don't want, which is right in the middle. Target handle points. On some of the class ones, the speeds they run, that's all controlled by the dispatcher. It could be hundreds or thousands of miles away, depending on where they're at. And we're looking at all these things are lined for a way we don't want to go. So we're gonna flip this over. That's the first switch. They've got a little sign here to indicate because this is a new switch. They've added a siding there for shuttle trains to park so they don't tie up traffic. We've got both switches lined to the right-hand route, which is kind of the straight route in this case. And here's that diamond that we ran over before. The reduced speed does two things. It reduces the chance of a derailment. It also saves wear and tear on the diamond because the rail is split for the flanges to go the crosswise direction. If our wheel pounds against those, it'll eventually beat down the leading edge of that rail. This is pretty flat track through here and it's in good condition, so we can let it run a little faster. Those grade crossings are set up on thick C-channel that's sort of oriented like this with the rail right on top, so they can handle a heavy truck driving over them without bending the rail. Our campsite is right over there with the tent and the gray pickup truck. One time in a spring meet, before I had the snowplow in the front of this locomotive, I ran over a big stack of pine needles right here. And it derailed the chain. They got sucked into the sprocket and took the chain right off. Thankfully, it was an easy fix, but it was kind of funny because the guy in front of me was on a goose similar to this, did the same thing to him. I think it's a good time to turn on some headlights. On a regular locomotive on mainline track, you'd always have that headlight on when you're moving, but it's optional here at this railroad during the daytime, but at night you need something. Not only to help you see, but it's a visual marker on the front of your train that lets people know which way you're going. That's some cool equipment. Little industrial locomotives. want to take the long way or the short way back?
Either way.
Okay, let's take this way. We haven't gone across this crossing. We're going to line the switch for the straight route here and go straight over to the other side of this thing that gets us back to Serpentine. Taking a left would take us all the way down through the campground again and back over near Lillyville, back to Midway Circle, Midway Loop. This is more of a shortcut. Gets us across. Big tree root right there. It causes the track to lift up. Another tree root right there. Oh, there's a green block. We'll take it easy through here. Sometimes trains with less flexible suspension or real long wheelbase trucks can't conform to the undulations of the railroad, especially if one rail dips down and the other stays steady. And so the flange can climb up and over if that wheel can't follow the contour of the rail down into the dip. Our Goose has arch bar trucks, which are super flexible, which is why we get away with going into some track that some other people can't do. And with a single rear axle that I'm sitting on top of, along with the batteries, it's a pretty nice design. The same goes for the rest of our train set. They're all arch bar trucks, so they're pretty flexible. Axles can move up and down independently of the truck frame, more or less, because the frame flexes and also the springing allows them to move. And on my rail cars, I always add a washer on one end, give a little extra lateral and sideways tipping motion. But the other end is a little bit stiffer, and it gives you a 3-point stance, so allows you to negotiate some of that rough track without getting the tippiness. That formula seems to work really well. The other option is to add a bunch of weight. With lots of weight, it compresses the springs and allows them to follow the contour of the rail. Okay, we're going to throw this one to the right. That'll keep us heading towards Serpentine. This is a funny piece of track here. You can throw it to the left and get on Midway Circle here. And if you change your mind, you can throw the next switch to the right and get right back on the track we're on. So this can serve as a passing siding if you like. And that would be Midway Circle again. You can stay on that forever and ever, or you can spin off on a spoke and go a different direction. Now we're back on Serpentine. Well, it's technically Midway right here. It will become Serpentine in a second. Now we're hitting the grade. You can hear the motor working a little harder. And then there's a slight downhill after this crossing. So the train takes off. So I'm going to reduce throttle. And then we're right back into it again on this grade. This grade stays pretty consistent all the way up to the top. We have several choices to get to the top, and I think what we want to do, we'll stay on serpentine all the way up. We'll go through the big tunnel, come out at Grand Central, and then we can get right into the turntable just after the depot. We'll keep the camera rolling through the turntable so you can see how that works. Normally it's too busy and I can't do it all at once. I need to concentrate in that area. There's a view of the prairie, or the meadow, I guess. And our conductor, she's still there. She follows us wherever we go. .1% grade at this point. We're on the tail end of a couple more trains, so we can't go through too fast or we'll catch up to them. Switch is lined left, the main track. In most situations, the main track is the straight route on a switch because it saves wear and tear on the rail on the switch. There's some exceptions to that, especially in a curve. You don't have much choice. And we're coming up on a junction here, so we're going to pay attention. The switch is lined correctly. Youngstown. The highway is just over there. In fact, you can see the top of a semi-truck. But you almost don't know it's there when you're at Train Mountain. You can hear the trucks occasionally, but the trees do a good job of dampening the sound. We're behind a steam locomotive right there. Going for a night run. We've yet to try that, but we do have cab lights in our locomotive, so I might try it at some point. But we can take our time getting to the top because I know that steamer is going to go into one of those tracks. It might take them a minute to put their train away. Depends on where they're at. If they're in Crisp Yard, they'll be out of our way before we know it. But if they need the turntable, we'll have to give them a minute. We know there's at least one more train between them and us. Probably in the middle of that curve up there. We're going to keep a little distance between us and this train. Try to keep 2 mileposts away. It looks like they're doing the same for the steamer. I'm just going to ring the bell for this crossing so don't wake up the campers. Flashing red means there's a train ahead, ready to stop. And we got a solid red here, so we can't go past this. Oh, there we go. They just cleared up the block. But we know we're right on their tail, so we're just going to take it easy through here. We'll keep an eye on that signal in case they have to back up or something. There's Kevin's train. The bar car is out. That's awesome. How's it going? One of the most interesting trains on this layout. Give you a trackside view. Just on your right there. You mind grabbing that? It's somebody's, probably an injector overflow. All right, we'll keep 3.24 serpentine. Whenever we see parts, we try to pick them up unless there's a train right behind us. We'll take them up to the lost and found. It might save somebody's day. I saw a copper hose with a little union fitting on it. It's probably somebody's injector overflow or something from a steam locomotive. Okay, there's a downhill coming train, so we're going to pay especially close attention to where this switch is lined. I'm going to dim my headlights so that he doesn't get blinded. That'll let him know I'm yielding the right-of-way too. And I was watching the points on that switch so we didn't have a collision. Now I'm going to bring my headlights back up. That'd be standard practice if you're in a siding waiting for an oncoming train. You want to get your headlights out of their vision so they can see what's going on. Kind of like high beams on a car, train headlights are especially bright. And we're back on the tail of this other train. We're about 3 mileposts behind. We'll just keep this speed up until we creep up on them. I'm guessing they'll slow down through the yard, as will we. There's a reduced speed limit through there. Got a nice sunset, characteristic of Train Mountain. There's a flashing red, so that confirms that we're right on their tail. And I just saw them disappear around that last curve, so this is a limited sight distance. We'll bring our speed down. Actually, we'll let the grade take our speed away. What happened? Oh no, it's probably oily water. I do have a towel. Our conductor got dripped upon, so we're going to toss her a towel. She probably got oozed on by some steam oil or something. That's par for the course on a steam locomotive. Okay, here's where we select our route. We want to go left to Grand Central Station, and we're going to stick our arm out and break this beam right here. You hear that beep? That means it took our signal. And so when we get to that point, it will throw the switches in our favor. But it's stacked up a log of all the trains that have gone before us, and it knows when a block gets cleared. And so the guys ahead of us have done the same thing for their intended route. So it could move up to 3 times, one for each different train, depending on who's in queue. We're going to follow this signal. We don't want to creep up too close, or we might we might not leave it time enough to throw that switch between trains. If we run a red signal and get ahead of things, it'll throw right underneath us and we'll have a derailment. So as long as we don't have a solid red, we're okay to proceed. See, there's a flashing red. Solid red is for the diverging route. Flashing red is for the straight ahead route. You can hear the putt-putt of the gas motor ahead of us. And you can turn day into night by turning off the headlight. See the light at the end of the tunnel. And they're going to stop and make a selection, so we're going to give them some space. They may not have done the selector behind us. You can see this is just a corrugated culvert designed to take the weight, a little bit of ballast on the bottom to give us a flat surface. You can see up there those signals are all solid red, so we can't go past those. But we want to make sure that it goes the way we chose. Let's see if it remembers what we did back there. Now we've got some traffic anyway, so we'll just park here for a second. Set the brake. Brakes applied. That was kind of cool. Let's hear that again. Ha. And we're gonna go. Highball. And we're lined up twice. We have a solid red ahead, so we can creep up to it, but we can't go through it. Looks like we might be the last of a long line, so we'll just creep on up. There we go. Then we're going to make a selection to get across. I think we can select to get into the yard from here. Here are options. We want the turntable route. We'll push that button and watch the lights go red while the switch is throwing. There we go. We have the lunar. Zoom you back out here. Oh. We must be. Yeah, there's no insulator here, so that's just us. Yeah, we can do this. It looks like we're all lined in. We'll just creep through here at yard limit speed. Look at that, the old switcheroo we got by everyone. Did you have a good ride?
Yeah.
All right.
Too far to sit back down.
Oh, yeah. And we're lined all the way in. How's it going? Good. Okay. Our conductor. We're gonna creep ahead. Thank you, appreciate it.
How many seats have you done personal for me now?
We're just running it by hand, walking on the ground here, because I don't feel comfortable riding it on this trestle without any side support. Now we're onto the turntable. Okay, and then we lift up this ramp. Making sure the other end's clear so we don't swing into somebody. And this is our track here.
One finger payment, let's go.
There's Jeff Tullen's engine. It's pretty cool. I hear a steamer coming up the serpentine. There we go. And here's how we do this. We turn off the key. And we're all done. We don't even have to cover it tonight because it's not going to rain.
Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe and you'll get all the updated episodes. Stay tuned because the next episode will take the little steamer out on the line.